this is about constructive memory, right? Like we collectively rebuild our memory in a way that denies history. And the same is true in everyday life, right? Like young women today who don't consider themselves feminists don't realize like what it was like for my mom in the 1970s when like she had to be home at 5 o'clock to cook dinner every night, or my dad would go apeshit at her, right? And it was really hard for women of my mom's generation to go out and get a job and have that be accepted, right? And I think people don't believe that now. Like everything the women in my mom's generation were fighting for under the label of feminism is basically considered common sense now. Now it's not all real and happening. There's still all sorts of discrimination, but at least the idea, like women can work or not work. Women can get divorced if they feel like it, and they're not bad people. Like women or men can change diapers. Women or men can cook dinner. Women should get the same salary for doing the same job. Like all this shit is considered obvious now, and people in younger generation have a hard time wrapping their brain around the fact that it totally didn't used to be considered obvious, and you had to fight to get people to accept these concepts, right? So I think this is just how cultural memory works. It's not unlike how after you broke up with your partner, you just remember everything bad that happened, and when you're in love, you remember everything good that happened. And
Wait, Ben, you know what?
we just reconstruct our history mentally willy-nilly, right?
But I wonder, I mean, so there's a part of me that says it'd be really interesting to see if AI researchers are different in that, but there's a part of me that says
they're not different. No.
yeah, not so far anyway.
No.
But there's a part of me that says that actually has a purpose that we're not acknowledging that relates to our earlier discussion of it pulling forward. It like, right? So if you change the memory, it's almost like you're sending back in time. If that works somehow, it's almost like you're saying,
Well, yeah,
saying like it was like that, so pull it up.
If you bring retrocausality into this, then you would conclude that your historical reframing of your history could actually rewrite your history.
That's right. It actually was like that.
This could be how the post-singularity supermind is reaching back to tweak what we're doing. It's as it rewrites its history into a more rosy form, suiting its state of mind at that point in time. It may actually be readjusting what we do into a more benevolent
there are even people in the conspiracy space who are arguing that, they'll predict, JFK Jr. is coming back or some other extremely strange prediction. And when it doesn't happen, they are not arguing it's because a government-controlled AGI causality engine is kind of fixing things as we go along so that the things that should happen don't happen.
Oh, the timeline, like there's a timeline.
There's a woman madly sweeping, behind whatever's happening to get rid of any of the evidence.
Yeah, is that what you worked on with INSCOM? That's what I want to know.
There's a tendency to think things are a little simpler, neater, and more orderly than they really are. So in Terence McKenna, with whom I started this thread, I mean, he had this whole 2012-ish theory and this like time wave zero thing where he plotted history in a way that would lead to history,
the end of the universe or something,
or at least history entering a radical new phase in 2012. And he unfortunately passed away before that, so I didn't get to debate it with him. But I mean, you could try to argue, well, things did change in 2012. We're just too stupid to notice. But I tend to think that part of it, he was just like hallucinating and over-interpreting things in a way that, maybe it makes sense in some branch of the multiverse, but didn't spread too much to this one, right? So there are probably, in my view, these phenomena going on where our minds are shaping reality and future minds are shaping past reality, yet these things are more subtle and broad-based and tricky somehow than something naive like the 2012 time wave or the reptilian conspiracy theory or something would posit, right? And that's always been one of the challenges with the paranormal, is like there's, which is a terrible word, but I don't have a good word for it. I mean, there seems to be real stuff going on here. On the other hand, a lot of the stuff that people think is going on in that relation isn't real, and then sifting through it all takes a certain presence of mind that is challenging for many people to come by, right? Because you have to accept that weird shit happens that violates all of our norms and beliefs that most people would think is insane. Yet it's not really that anything goes, or at least not that anything goes with the same probability, right? I mean,
Right.
most of the things that people think happen regarding ESP, precognition, retrocausation, most of these things actually are not real, are just people's delusions, right?
Well,
And
it's the reason it's weird shit is that it's weird, it's unusual, and so clearly there are some sort of normal laws or rules, and then there are some exceptions that we don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. And the whole paradigm of rules and exceptions
Exactly.
probably isn't the right thing, and we need some better way to be thinking about it, right?